official. I'm pregnant with my second baby. We are 27, almost 28 weeks pregnant, and it has been a whirlwind. Being pregnant with a toddler, I have a 16-month-old, so almost 1.5 is honestly, I've never gone through something so tiring and exhausting in my life. And I'm gonna break down for you. I'm definitely really excited to have 2 little boys that are gonna be 19 months apart, really close, and I really wanna foster that sibling love as much as I can, that sibling friendship as much as I can. But we will go through the ups and the downs of what it's like to be pregnant with a toddler today as I get ready for the day. Now, this is an unusual morning because my car broke down. So my husband Chris actually has my other son, or our only son, and I am just able to do a lot of this stuff toddler free. So I figured, why not talk through it and share what the experience of being pregnant with a toddler is truly like. This was very much a planned pregnancy. We really wanted to have 2 kids close in age, so we were really going for this. This wasn't a surprise, but damn, I really wish that I knew what it would be like before I went through it. And I feel like there's this like secret code where women just don't talk about it. And maybe it's because you kind of forget about it, but it is so exhausting. And let's start with the first trimester. Okay, so this first trimester was not that much different from my first kid. So if you've already had a kid, then you'll know that the first trimester is quite exhausting. Your body has been built to create kids, but it is somehow using so much energy just to create this little baby that you are exhausted. And it's really hard because you're exhausted, but you're also running around with a toddler. And toddlers have so much energy. At this point in time, it was like 6 months ago. So it was around Griffin's first birthday. He was already starting to crawl and move a bit. He definitely needed to be more engaged than ever. It wasn't like he was an infant and he was okay with just looking at high contrast images. He really needed to be engaged. He was clingy and he wasn't moving too much on his own. He still needed a lot of assistance, which basically meant that I had to build a new baby and carry around a 20-pound toddler. So that was pretty exhausting. And there were definitely days where I was like, I don't remember ever being this tired in my entire life. I actually looked back at a journal that I kept during my first birth, and I think the same week that I wrote that down in my current journal, I wrote that down in my past one, saying that I'd never been so tired. So I guess I have. But it just felt like a completely different experience. I have talked to a few friends who have also had 2 kids back to back, and they also mentioned they were just really, really tired. And they had a lot more nausea in the second pregnancy than the first. I don't know if it's because your body already kind of knows what's going on and it goes into just doing as much as it can, but I definitely felt a lot more nausea in the second pregnancy than my first pregnancy. And overall, just really tired. So that first trimester was exhausting. I was still going to the gym. I started to change my diet, removing things that you're not really supposed to eat during a pregnancy, cutting down to 1 cup of coffee per day, removing sushi and cold cuts, hot dogs, anything like that. At one point, I actually did get sick. I got food poisoning from eating a salad, like a bagged salad. That was awful. And I've not eaten any raw vegetables since because I'm just deadly afraid to get it again. And I really love salads, but it was the most intense, painful thing that I have gone through since birth. And I don't know, I was medicated during birth, so this just was a whole new world. Okay, so let's talk about the second trimester. At around 14 weeks, I started to get a lot of my energy back. And I mean, before this, I was barely walking at any speed. I was walking real slow. All I wanted to do was lay down, sit on a couch, because also my toddler was going through a sleep regression, which just added to the lack of sleep and rest and being able to fully charge. But at 14 weeks, I was back at the gym. I was able to move a lot more, and I was feeling a lot better. And the second trimester has been a whirlwind of a difference from the first. First off, I got my energy back. I wasn't getting as nauseous or crampy as I was in the first trimester. And I started to realize that things that were happening in my first pregnancy were happening a lot sooner. And I've heard this again by a lot of other individuals who've been pregnant multiple times. You start to feel those little flutters and kicks so much earlier. I'm at 28 weeks right now, and I feel crazy kicks. You can definitely see them on the outside. I know when he's awake. I know when he's stirring, when he needs more room. I also feel like I'm just getting generally larger, but that's besides the point. I felt like my breast started to grow a lot faster. That definitely happened in the first trimester. Similar to my first pregnancy, things were moving a lot faster in the growth. And I have actually started to produce milk. This did happen in my first pregnancy. Around the second or like tail end of the second trimester, I did start to produce some colostrum. And again, I am getting the same thing. I've noticed that when my son is really moody, or like crying or just snuggly, I will actually lactate a bit and it will just go through my shirt. So something I was not really prepared about, but I think because your head's thinking about babies, it just happens. And that has continued on. I am excited because I hope it means that I just have a really good milk supply when the time actually comes. Although I also feel like things my body was already starting to prepare for, so it instantly popped out so much sooner. You were able to tell I was pregnant a lot earlier. Like I said, things were just growing a lot faster. I did start to get nighttime insomnia a lot sooner. I noticed that when I work out, I definitely feel the coning a lot earlier than I did in my first pregnancy. So I've had to do a lot more modifications in workouts earlier than I did in my first pregnancy, which I just want to be safe and have a good pregnancy. So I've definitely done that. And now at the tail end of my second trimester, going into my third trimester, I'm starting to feel really out of breath from not doing that crazy of things. Like I've been walking around my house, putting things away, and I feel breathless. In regards to just general mental and physical, so physical we already talked a little bit about, but in regards to mental, I definitely feel less afraid. I feel like things are moving so much faster. The fact that I'm almost in my third trimester is literally insane. I cannot believe it. And that fear of not knowing what to expect is completely gone because for the most part, you do know what to expect. You're having the same type of doctor's appointments. I've already scheduled all my doctor's appointments out with my OBGYN until the end of the year. I've started planning with my full-time job that I do, what my leave is going to look like, and I've planned out a lot more things that you otherwise wouldn't have done. Although I haven't really started to nest, and I know it's going to come in so hard because I can feel it in the back of my head. I can feel myself being like, it's time to get things ready. We should clean the attic. We should reorganize things. And I know it's just because baby boy is coming soon, and I'm trying to like get things done. Overall, I am really, really excited about this birth. I know that I am in control. I have the ability to make the decisions that I want with my body. And although things are really, really hard at times, really exhausting, probably the hardest part for me is the getting up and sitting down with my toddler and really engaging, keeping up with him, because although he doesn't move that fast, he's just like always up and moving at all times. And if your toddler is the same, which most likely they are, because every toddler is just crazy moving around, exploring their world. That has definitely been one of the hardest aspects in this pregnancy, is just trying to figure out how I can keep up with him and keep up that energy. And right now, my husband has been a really big part in this, because he's had to really step up and take on some of the roles that I was doing with him. And I've had to sit back and watch some of those things, which stinks. We went apple picking over the weekend, and usually I'm the one that's holding my son and walking with him and wandering around and engaging with him the most. And I just didn't have the energy or capacity to do it. And I really had to sit out for some of it, because I just didn't have the energy or stamina or ability to hold him for as long. And it really stinks sometimes. But I know that it's just preparing me for once we actually have our second baby. And I am going to definitely have to spend more time with our second over our first while I'm nursing. And I know my husband and our toddler are going to be hanging out a lot more. And I'm really excited for their relationship to grow, but it really stinks sometimes watching it, because you want to be really involved and you want to be there as well. In the end, I think I would never have it any other way. I'm really excited about this 19-month gap and to see what it brings. I'm really excited to see what the third trimester brings. I'm hoping baby boy wants to come a little early, maybe like 38 weeks, because those last few weeks are the hardest. But I wish you the best of luck if you are also on this journey or thinking about it. It has been truly amazing, and there's only a couple weeks where you're really just exhausted and don't think you can make it through, but you can, you will, and it's going to be amazing on the other side. I wish you the best. I do not do that much pregnancy content on this channel, but I do have a whole playlist I'll add right here of everything from my first trimester and everything that I'm doing, everything from my first birth and everything that I'm doing this time around. I hope this is helpful in making your decision. I know I loved watching this type of content when I was thinking about my decision, and it's going to be really magical.